up late trying to figure out what to talk about. And then I thought about the month of February, so I decided to go on love. And while I was searching what to write on, I came across a story that it's titled Love. And it says, your actions may change a life. One day when I was a freshman in high school, I saw a kid from my class was walking home from school. His name was Kyle. It looked like he was carrying all of his books. I thought to myself, why would anyone bring home all of his books on a Friday? He must really be a nerd. I had quite a weekend planned, parties and a football game with my friends tomorrow afternoon, so I shrugged my shoulders and went on. As I was walking, I saw a bunch of kids running towards him. They ran at him, knocking all of the books out of his hands and tripping him so he landed in the dirt. His glasses went flying, and I saw them land in the grass about 10 feet from him. He looked up and I saw his terrible sadness in his eyes. My heart went out to him. So I jumped over to him as he crawled around looking for his glasses, and I saw a tear in his eyes. As I handed him his glasses, I said, those guys are jerks. They really should get lives. He looked at me and said, hey, thanks. There was a big smile on his face. It was one of those smiles that showed a real gratitude. I helped him pick up his books and asked him where he lived. As it turned out, he lived near me. So I asked him why I had never seen him before, and he said he'd gone to private school before now. I would have never hung out with a private school kid before. We talked all the way home, and as I carried his books, he turned out to be a pretty cool kid. I asked him if he wanted to play football on Saturday with me and my friends, and he said yes. We hung all weekend, and the more I got to know Kyle, the more I liked him, and my friends thought the same of him. Monday morning came, and there was Kyle with a huge stack of books again. I stopped him and said, boy, you're really gonna build some serious muscles with all those piles of books every day. He just laughed and handed me half the books. Over the next 4 years, Kyle and I became best of friends. When we were seniors, began to think about college, Kyle decided to go on Georgetown and I was going to Duke. I knew that we would always be friends, that the miles would never be a problem. He was going to be a doctor, and I was going for business for a football scholarship. Kyle was valedictorian on our class. I teased him all the time about being a nerd. He had to prepare a speech for graduation. I was so glad it wasn't me having to get up there and speak. Graduation day, I saw Kyle. He looked great. He was one of those guys who really found himself doing high school. He filled out and actually looked good in his glasses. He had more dates than me, and all the girls loved him. Boy, sometimes I was jealous. Today was one of those days. I could see that he was nervous about his speech. So I smacked him on the back and said, hey, big guy, you'll be great. He looked at me with one of those looks, the really grateful one, and smiled. Thanks, he said. As he started his speech, he cleared his throat and began, graduation is a time to thank those who helped you make it through those tough years, your parents, your teachers, your siblings, maybe a coach, but mostly your friends. I'm here to tell you all that being a friend to someone is the best gift you can give them. I'm going to tell you a story. I just looked at my friend with disbelief as he told the story of the first day we met. He had planned to kill himself over that weekend. He talked of how he had cleaned out his locker so his mom wouldn't have to do it later and was carrying his stuff home. He looked hard at me and gave me a little smile. Thankfully, I was saved. My friend saved me from doing the unspeakable. I heard the grass go through the crowd as his handsome, popular boy told us all about this weakness moment. I saw his mom and dad looking at me smiling that same grateful smile. Not until that moment did I realize its depth. Never underestimate the power of your actions. With one small gesture, you can change a person's life, for better or for worse. God puts us all in each other's lives to impact one another in some way. Look for God in others. And when I read that story, I was like, it touched me because you never know what is going through someone's life. You could be walking through someone could be on the road and you just, like you said, he planned on killing himself. If he never stopped just to pick up his glasses, he would have been valedictorian and not turned out to be a doctor. So the simple gestures, just saying hi or giving someone a smile, always helps. So even a friend of mine at work told me she's never seen me upset. And I'm like, oh, there's times I'm upset. She's like, but yeah, it's hard to believe. And she's like, even when I was upset at work, she's like, you're still not upset. So sometimes the anger is not really worth it because it's just for that moment. So I found a couple of verses to go with the love. Deuteronomy 6, verse 5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Another one is Proverbs 10, verse 12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all sins.
Yes.
Another one is coming from Psalms 2, verse 4. He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. Matthew 5, verse 44. But as I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and prosecute you. And the last one would be from 1 Corinthians, verse 13, starting with verse 3. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but I have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, and is not puffed up. Does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, and is not provoked, thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in equity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but whatever there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect has come, then that which is part will be done away. So, I know a lot of people tend to recognize February just for Valentine's Day, it's love, but it should be 365 days a year. So, even though you have someone out there that does harm to you, like it says, feed your enemy, give your enemy a drink. So it's always nice to be kind to others, even though it's something that you don't want to do. So this is even a lesson for myself too. So I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm perfect either. So it's something that I have to deal with myself. So as the new year, I think we all should just love on each other as